Welcome back to Steadfast Strength, the Mom Fitness Podcast. I'm Kelsey and I'm here with Hannah today.
Hi.
Today we are talking about building a life that you don't need to escape from. And so I'm intrigued by this because I feel like it's a topic that Andy and I have explored a lot. And then when Hannah and I were talking about things to do a podcast on or topics, she was like, Ryan and I were just talking about this. Freaky.
It's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life. All the little things, all the golden dreams. I just wanna be in a beautiful every sunset, every sunrise, every new breath, every goodbye, all the mountains, the adventures, every moment. It's a beautiful life.
We are just going to dive right in to this whole theme. So it's really kind of talking about or thinking about times in life where we felt like, ugh, I just need a vacation, or I need to escape, or things like that. And then maybe how we have or how we are building lives where we don't always feel that way.
Yeah.
Through habits and career choices and
Yeah.
just how we've structured our lives. So let's back up and talk about when life didn't feel that way. When you felt like you did need to escape.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to start?
I don't know that I've ever really felt.
Okay, I felt that way.
Okay.
Sorry, go.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say I don't know that I've really felt that, or I've felt the pressure to feel that. Just
Okay,
from
that's a good distinction.
friends or when we were younger, Ryan and I got married young and we had kids young, and so kind of being at different points in our life, and friends weren't quite there yet, and feeling oh, we want to go out and do these things or go on these trips, but now we have adult responsibilities, and that was our choice. So maybe that time a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of some outside pressure to feel that way, or feeling like I should feel that way.
Yeah. I think okay, I can think of two separate kind of life seasons. One was maybe I didn't really feel like I needed to escape, but I just wanted more freedom to do things. And I didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
Maybe I felt strapped all the time. Trying to work your way through college and make ends meet. When Andy and I started pursuing this, building a life that you don't need to escape from too, we quit our careers. So we were strapped again then, so we weren't really able to do the things that maybe we always wanted to in that season, which I'd like to talk about more at some point today. But and then I think about when I was teaching or in my career, and I was getting to the point where I was burnt out versus excited for impact and change,
enjoying it.
Yeah. There were so many times in my career where I was at that point, but then toward the end, it was I cannot do this, and then it felt I gotta do something, anything, I want to fly away, or anything. So those are the time periods of life I think of where I felt burned out.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that career
Yeah.
thing till you brought that up, but I would say I felt that way towards the end of my working stint.
Yeah. Okay, so you were working, and then what sparked change for you?
Ryan and I were just both kind of at that point, we were close to 10 years at the same job, or at our respective jobs. We had both approaching that 10-year mark, and there wasn't much change happening for him, there wasn't much change happening for me, at that point we had 2 kids. And then the tipping point was kind of like when our 3rd one was on the way. It was like, I don't want to keep wasting my days. It felt like a waste of my time almost.
Why? Because where were your values and your, like what?
I was just like missing the time with the kids.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
like,
so you felt like their childhoods were like.
Yeah. It felt rushed, you know, to the last few hours of the day and then on the weekends. And Ryan's always worked a shift schedule. And so, like, if anyone knows what that is, like, it's just hard. His schedule's not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and never has been. And so, like...
So consistency is, like, non-existent for him.
Exactly. And so it just felt like we needed to slow down and kind of regain that family, put our family back in the forefront.
So you leaving your 9 to 5 was like giving your family like more space and structure and slowness. Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Me leaving my 9 to 5 was Andy putting his foot down and being like, you need to stop. But for us, like, I don't know, I feel like it's been like a long process of like soul searching and like figuring out like what we want out of life, and I feel like it continues to evolve and change. Is that the same for you guys?
I would say so.
Yeah. And again, for us, like part of what we felt like we were being called to or invited to step into meant like leaving 9 to 5s, leaving security, and it led to like a lot of chaos, more chaos for a long time. You know, like it wasn't like, oh, I want freedom and I want to build a life that I love, and so I'm going to quit my job and voila, it's like going to magically be here. For us, it's been and even now there's like seasons where things are like tougher and harder than other seasons. But I think about like starting the gym and Andy starting his business and starting the coffee shop and having kids and like just having no balance during those times either, where it was like, why did I quit my 9 to 5 just to hustle more and work more and earn less, you know, and not get to enjoy the things that I was hoping to enjoy. And so I don't know, like, I don't know if some people on that journey like never make it through that. Like, thankfully Andy's had like a lot of breakthrough with business stuff, so that we're in a place where it feels like we are building a life that we don't need to escape from anymore. But
for a season you had to sacrifice a lot, and it was tough.
It was very tough. What was it like for you?
When I left, Ryan was still at his same job, and it was kind of just like not a great work environment, but he knew like we needed that stability, you know, that financial stability. And so he just kind of had to like grind it out, but he was willing to do that so that we could like transition. And then thankfully other opportunities came up for him, and it was like tight for a little bit until things got settled, but it's been really good. It's been hard. Like, the shift work is always hard. But it's been really good having me as a constant.
Okay, so this is got a lot happening in my head.
Sorry.
But like, no, so that's okay. So a few things I'm thinking are like building the life you dream of, or like building the life you don't need to escape from. One looks different for everyone. Like for Andy and I, it's been like an entrepreneurial venture, you know, but for some people it is like teaching, or it is working 9 to 5s, or you know, like it is staying home with kids, and you know, it can look different for everyone. And then the other thing I think is like the timing of everything. You know, like Andy and I made some big changes when it was just the two of us. So we didn't have as many responsibilities and things to worry about, so we could like stretch ourselves a little thinner, make more sacrifices, pick up little odds and end jobs to make ends meet. But you know, like once you have a family and a mortgage, and you know, like then it's harder to like make changes. If you are feeling like
because it kind of boxes you in a little bit. Or kind of like forces you to have that responsibility. I mean, you have responsibility.
You have
You have to
responsibilities.
meet those
But you
needs
can't.
first. Like,
yeah. You can't just escape from your responsibilities
Right.
while trying to build a life that you don't want to escape from. Like that's
Yeah.
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 How has fitness played a role in this for you guys? For you?
I mean, I think so. Like, well, fitness overall, I just feel better, eat better, move better, sleep better. I'm just more present, you know, for my kids and husband and just in general. And then like the community. And that's, I feel like we talk about this every podcast.
Yeah.
But like the community in the gym and around fitness and stuff has just also been super life-giving.
Yeah.
And like making friends and having connections with people that you can like talk to and relate to on different levels is
Yeah. I think that that changes everything.
yeah.
Something I've said probably before in podcasts, but that has really inspired Andy and I to have a gym and keep our a foot in the fitness door is that when people start to get physically fit, it starts to open this box
For like other areas.
yeah, and that is always so fun and so rich to go on that journey with other people. And then we had lunch with a couple this last weekend, and we briefly were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it made me think about just the process of growth in general. You know, when you're worrying about your health and where your food's coming from and making ends meet, it's really hard to worry, invest time in all these other things, you know.
Yeah.
But if you can get the bottom of the pyramid right, where your basic needs are met, you know, then you can start to develop relationships, and then work on your intellectual health, and start to optimize and actualize into who God created you to be. But when you're stuck on the bottom of the pyramid, just trying to survive,
Always.
then you will probably feel like you do want to escape.
That's what I was gonna say. Then it feels like you're always in that mode where you want a break, you need a break,
Yeah, and I know some of that is life circumstance, you know. I don't know, just how much money a family brings in, and there are circumstances sometimes beyond people's control that probably influence that. But if money isn't the issue, but it's okay, I can't invest in relationships or these things because I'm tired and I don't feel good, and you know, for me that's do something. Get to the gym, get something on your health and wellness, moving in the right direction. Just get one thing going right, because then you can start to build from there and get everything moving right. But when everything's working against you, then you don't want to do anything.
Then it's gonna feel hard.
Yeah. Okay, so what does your life look like that you don't need to escape from?
For us, we kind of talked about this before we started, but some people, you know, travel is a huge part of their life. I know you guys love to travel.
Yeah.
For Ryan and I, we're not big travelers.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I was talking with a friend the other day, and she was saying how she felt like she should want to travel more. She should want to do these things, and she just doesn't. And I was like, I relate to that so much. Sometimes I feel like I should be a person that wants to go see all these things, and I do, it'd be cool. But
it's not a huge...
I'm content,
that's
you know,
cool.
with what we have
and
with where we're at. And I don't know. It just felt nice to have that connection with someone oh, you don't feel that way either. It's okay to just enjoy what you have.
Right. Well, contentment, that's what contentment is. You
Yeah.
know? That's a great point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ryan and I have spent so much time building our house, building the land, and just to us, that's what's important. Our property, our house, our shed, all that stuff.
You have things that you enjoy right there, being home,
making it a place that we want to enjoy.
Yeah.
Putting the trees in, putting the everything how we want it. landscaping, garden, you know,
Yeah.
like all that stuff to make it a place that we enjoy being
Yeah.
and have our kids enjoy being. And
Yeah, that's really
so that's what,
cool. 'Cause, so like that's home, and it feels good and it feels peaceful, and
yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah. So to me, like that was kind of like the building life that we want. Like when we were newly married and in our 20s and like our house and our property did not look the way it does now. And it was like always trying to like scrimp by, do a little project here or there or stuff. And now I feel like we're finally to that tipping point where we can just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
and like
cool.
we've built this life that we
Yeah.
don't have to escape from.
Yeah.
We built this house that we don't want to leave. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So Andy and I, we do love to travel. And we love adventure. We love taking the girls on trips and stuff too. And for us, like we've been exploring more and more, like, you know, well, for a while it was kind of like, we want to take all these trips and stuff, but sometimes it feels like, am I supposed to be working while I'm on these trips or not? You know, like, is this supposed to? And so like a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, 6 weeks ago now, I don't know. Sometime recently, we went with some people that Andy works with, and we went on a trip that was like a work trip. Like the guys were working the whole time, and for me, like me and the girls would like live our life. Like obviously I was in a different city, so I wasn't coaching at the gym in the morning.
Right.
But I was like doing my work in the morning and evenings, and then with the girls like during the day, instead of just, you know, like doing our thing at our house or locally here in Omaha, we were out on the trails or, you know, exploring the area that we were in. And that was inspiring for us because that was like, okay, this is like traveling and working. And like now we're like experimenting with, you know, how to do both in different places.
Yeah.
And people are like, how was vacation? And I was like, well, it was great, but it was like we were still working, you know.
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
that, and not that every trip is going to be like that, you know. Like Andy and I are going on a trip here soon too that like will not be
It's
work.
a true
It'll be-
vacation.
It'll be
Yeah.
And so like for us, like drawing boundaries around those and like communicating what types of trips they are is important to us, or important for us to like be on the same page when we're out there. But yeah, I don't know. I like being able to live anywhere, from anywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
So for us, that's like, I don't feel the need to run away or do anything. It just is like, we can work. But I think that, like going back to fitness, like fitness has been a door into exploring all of that.
Yeah.
Faith has been a door into exploring all that. Like, who has God created me to be, you know, and then like, pursuing those two things. And I think what you said about contentment is really important too, because if you're like chasing escape because you're not content, or you're trying to build a life that you don't want to escape from, but in a way that's like escaping from your current reality,
Yeah.
like what's the underlying root of that? Is it discontentment? Is it like, and is that discontentment like a holy discontentment? Like, I'm discontent because I should be doing something different, or like
Yeah.
I'm discontent because I'm envying things that
that others have or others are doing.
yeah. that isn't meant for me right
Right.
now, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
That's
I think
that-
that looks different for everyone.
It has
And
to.
I like, you know, maybe some of what we talked about at the beginning, like maybe that was when I was younger figuring that out. Like maybe I wasn't really discontent.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just thinking I should be envious, or
Yeah.
maybe I, you know.
Yeah.
But like what you said about travel, I think there's a difference between like traveling because that's like part of you and who you are and like
Yeah.
what your values are, and taking vacations to escape.
Yeah.
There's
100%.
a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like
100%, yeah.
if you have to run away to a place minimum 3 times a year to feel happy in your life, then something is out of balance
Right.
in
Okay.
your life.
Okay, and like we're using the example of travel, but like there's a lot of other forms of escape.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of other things. That's just the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, well, because I love to travel. That's where my head's been at the whole time. Like, I don't have to escape from life because I get to travel. You know, like whatever. But like alcohol, you know, like I don't know. That's the other one that I guess pops into my head.
Yeah, or binging shows in an unhealthy
Yeah.
way, or food in an unhealthy way. Like anything that you put your worth or your looking for happiness in, that's not
God.
God.
Yeah,
Or that's
yeah.
not meant for you. That's
Yeah.
not, you know,
Yeah.
you're going to not find contentment. You're not going to find that true peace, that true feeling.
Really good.
Thanks.
That's really good. Yeah. Yeah. I had that thought a little bit ago about nutrition, you know, like when we use the phrase building a life you don't have to escape from, you know, like it made me even think about like diets, you know, like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. Or like, you know, like I don't feel that way about how I eat on a daily basis. Like I mean, maybe sometimes there are certain seasons where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be really intentional and cut some weight. And then it's like, okay, this is kind of hard, you know? But I like to do hard things sometimes, and I like that reset. But like the majority of the time, the way like I build my plate and eat, like I'm not feeling like this is terrible and I don't want to be eating this, you know, like it's become a part of our life.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I need to escape that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you think of other examples?
No,
Like
I think that was a really good one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked kind of about like the shift from chaos or like discontent into contentment as far as like careers a little bit. What are some other ways that you've gone from like chaos, discontentment to contentment? You said like building your house.
Yeah.
The way that it is so that you can like enjoy it.
One thought I had was like around your schedule or around your time. You know, if you're always, you know, even if you're working full time or working weird hours, but like if you're not building in time during your day or during your week or your month to do something that's like enriching to your life, that's like self-care or some form of hobby that you enjoy, then that's going to make your life feel harder and less enjoyable, and you're going to want to escape in other ways.
Yeah, so like this week, I feel like I've been like psycho. I mean, really, like, you know, like summer training started with the athletes, like
You've been a lot busier than normal.
so much busier than normal, which is amazing. So happy that we have all of them in here, but my workload has been a lot. Like there are some days where I'm coaching 8 hours a day, you know, and then like needing to program and follow up with emails and stuff too. So like the workload has been good, but then again, Andy and I are getting ready to go on a trip. So then it's like getting all the travel, it's international too, you know? So like getting all that stuff organized, getting the kids are not coming. So like making sure they're good. And then just like the natural things that come with like, I want my house to be taken care of. So like mowing the lawn, doing
So you don't have to worry about it when you're gone.
Yeah, like making, all that stuff.
So any of your normal free time has not been free this week.
My life has been very out of balance the last few days. Yeah. And I'm feeling like, wow, I cannot wait to get on that plane. You know, like I feel like I want to escape a little bit. But it, like, to me, that's like an example of like, I've been putting too much, like I've been packing too much into these days. And I'm doing that because I know that I have this like relaxation. But there's been other times of life where it's like, I'm packing my days like that without an end in sight, you know, and not making time for workouts or not planning out how many hours of sleep I want to get, not meal prepping. So instead of like having good nutritious food around, I'm just like eating what the kids are eating, stopping at a drive-through, you know, like
not being intentional with your with your time, with your choices.
And to me, like maybe I'm describing that and you're like people who are listening are thinking like, that's my life. Like that's what I do. Like I run around and I grab food, whatever food is available. You know, I pack too much work in. I don't get to see my kids. You know, like, I'm at a place in life where, like, that's not sustainable for me. That is what leads to burnout. You know, like, trying to pack too much in. And, you know, like, there are different seasons. And there have been seasons where I've had more capacity to to handle more. But I think like knowing your season and looking for red flags that are like, okay, this is not okay. Like I need self-care. I need more sleep. I need some more habits are like really important.
Yeah.
What would you say some red flags are?
Basically what you described, feeling like anxious about stuff all the time, feeling like you're not getting enough sleep, or, you know, physical changes. Like your body will tell you, you'll have those bags under your eyes, your skin will dry out, like you'll get breakouts, whatever it may be, like, you know.
Yeah.
I lost
Yeah,
my
like
train of thought.
being short with people.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a big one for me. Like the second I start to get snippy or like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something's not right. You know?
That's really good self-awareness on your part.
Well, I mean, I'm like almost 36 now, so
Sometimes it takes having kids to realize that.
Yeah. But looking for those red flags and then finding ways to like regroup, I think is really important to restoring the balance.
And knowing yourself, like knowing, okay, I can only take on so much, or like, okay, I have 3 kids, this kid's in this sport, this kid's in this sport, like limiting what they do so you have time in your schedule, so your kids have time in your schedule. You know, not packing everything in and just burning everybody out.
Yeah, because then everyone's crabby, and then that's like really not a fun way to live. Yeah. Okay, maybe we talked about this already, but like if that's the way people are feeling, or like they're noticing like red flags in this, like, wow, I feel like I need to escape from life, or I didn't know I needed to escape from life, but now that I'm realizing I'm very stressed out and tired, and maybe I do feel that way, like, what's your advice or action step, or like, what do people do with that?
Well, if you're noticing, like, well, first of all, you should take stock of like how you're feeling, and if you notice any of those red flags or are relating to any of this conversation that we're having. And then my first advice is like start saying no more, which is hard sometimes. But you know, no to extra training sessions, or no to going out to eat, even if it's more convenient in the time, or no to an activity your kid wants to do, or a birthday party they want to go to, just so you can have like a 2-hour block on a Sunday. You know? Like,
I think even creating like using no as a way to like create space to like hard stop for a second and take inventory.
It's a pause.
Is important, because I feel like sometimes people are like, okay, I know I need to change, I'm going to change, and this is what I'm going to do. And then it's like they start sprinting hard in that direction. But it's like your plan is unsustainable. You know, so you like kind of set yourself up for failure in that way. And I don't say that as an excuse to like put it off.
No.
You know, like if you know you need to make a change, like make a change, but like maybe give yourself a second to like think about how to implement that change, whatever it is.
Or, you know, start with a small change. Build onto it.
What are some examples of small changes?
If you have been saying, oh, I need to get back to the gym, I need to, like, okay, come 1 or 2 times a week. Start there. When you start feeling good, when things start getting easier, build onto that. Come more.
So that might be
add
like,
your nutrition. You know, start
stacking things on top of each other.
Habit stacking. That's what I was trying to say.
But you just have to start somewhere. To build this life, you know. That's like fitness, nutrition related for sure. I think like when it comes to like career stuff, like that's hard.
That's trickier.
Like career, location, you know, family, friends.
Because there's always a sacrifice. You know, like
that's good.
Could Ryan have left his job earlier, and could I have stayed working? Yes, like he could have found a different job sooner, but that probably would have meant a pay cut for him, which would have meant I would have had to stay working, which would have meant our kids would have been in the same situation with a third one on the way. You know, like there's always a trade-off. And you just have to figure out like for you and your spouse, or you and your family, like what that trade-off is. To find that balance.
And I think like communicating about it is huge, and then like reevaluating. You know, like just because you make a decision and do something for a while doesn't mean that that's what you have to do forever.
Yeah.
But I like get stuck in that. Like I remember making the decision to work full time again right as I was about to have Oakley. And like in my spirit, I did not want to do it, but like COVID was hitting, and so there was probably some like fear. We probably made that decision out of fear a little bit, but it felt like what I needed to do to like ensure provision for our family and our growing family, you know. And it did, like, I felt like it came at a huge cost to me as like a new mom, you know, like starting a gym, working a full-time job, having a new baby. But then like things settle down. It's like, okay, like I need to be done with this, you know? And then we like made the decision like for me to be done. So it was like, yeah, like I sacrificed for a little while. Andy sacrifices for a little while, you know, like there's give and take in that.
Yeah.
But for us, it's been like, okay, we don't have to make this decision forever. Like we can continue to adjust and shift with whatever building this life needs to look like. Okay. Any other like action steps?
No.
Okay.
I'll think of a million more later.
Yeah, for sure, because there are a million. But you know, like I like the point about like being intentional with like decisions that you're making. Like say no, think about where you want to start, and start. You know, and if you are living the life that you want to live, then that's like amazing,
awesome.
Great, cool. Share with us what you're doing and like where your journey has been, because I think that's something else we were talking about as we were briefly discussing what we were going to talk about today. Like we're in different parts in that journey of building that life, you know, and I'm sure that as the kids get older, you know, like
it's gonna change.
It'll change again, and then you know when kids leave the house, it'll change again, and you know, probably changes all the time. But how do you like make room to like know where you're at, or like what the season is, or if changes need to be made, or if you're just where you need to be?
I would say as long as you're feeling content and as long as like it's working for your family or for you, you know, financially, that's probably like one of the limiting factors.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a hard one
because it takes money to live.
Yeah.
You have like,
yeah.
And to do extra things and to do fun things. You know, if travel's your thing, like, well, you have to be able to pay for that somehow. So what does that sacrifice look like in other areas? Yeah. Because unless you're just like super blessed, which is awesome. Yeah. But otherwise, you know, you're hustling in the job so you can take a couple trips with your kids or
working overtime so that you know, like like,
because you also, like, my belief is like you don't want to be like in debt for any of this stuff. Because that's like a whole nother level of stress, a whole nother way, a whole nother pressure put on you that you might feel like you have to escape from, you know?
Yeah.
I forgot your question.
No, that's okay. You're doing great. You're great. Like, but we were just talking about like, how do you know? And so, like if changes need to be made, you know, and we talked about the red flags. But yeah, like that contentment like leads you forward.
Yeah, contentment. If you're starting to feel jealous of other people's lives, you know, social media is super hard. I feel like this is another podcast thing we always drop. But it's hard not to look around and be like, oh, I want what they have. Oh, I want to do what they are doing. It's like if you're starting to feel that way about a lot of stuff or like every time, okay, maybe take stock of where you're at and like see if there's changes you can make to get there. See if there's places you can sacrifice in your life or change in your life.
Yeah. I feel like a thing that we keep saying is like take stock of. Like second, you know, like there's a huge element of self-awareness to this. Yeah. You know, like, and I feel like when I'm not taking time to like reflect and like check in on my heart, like it's hard to know what's happening. You know, like, do I want these things? Yeah, because other people have them. Do I want these things because I'm like tired and strung out and like I am trying to escape and I just want something else? Or like, do I want these things because there's like truly a desire in me to like change it up, you know? And I feel like without like again, like saying no to some things, creating some time and space to like sort that out, it can be hard to tell like what your driving force is. And I think back to like leaving teaching, like I love education, and I'm still super passionate about it. But like the environment I was in at the end of my career, like I just could not catch my breath. Like I was so overwhelmed with the needs of the people around me, that I like my no was like stepping away from it so that I could even think clearly to be able to know like, okay, am I going back to education? Am I going a different way forward? And again, like thankfully Andy was willing to take the sacrifice, you know, like we took a sacrifice then, like letting go of my salary so that I could have the time and space to like figure out what was happening,
Figure out how to move forward.
where to move forward. Like, and sometimes I think we get really like stuck in those places of like burnout where we can't even see what's happening, and like getting out of it is more dramatic than just like saying no to a play date on a Sunday afternoon. You know, it's like, no, I do need to escape so that I can think clearly and start working on building this life that I don't have to escape from, you know, and I've thought about that a lot because, because I love education, and I love the way I spent the first 10 years of my career, but without self-care and fitness, and, you know, like there were just a lot of things that I wasn't intentional about and taking care of myself, that then I was carrying so much that wasn't mine to carry, wasn't taking care of myself, and it took like a dramatic step to like get out of that. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym, you know, and sometimes it's like, we're going to take a huge financial risk and like quit a job.
Sometimes it's a giant financial decision.
Yeah. And it probably just depends on like how severe, you know, like the weight of whatever it is that's weighing you down is, you know? Yeah, man, building the life you don't want to escape from. Any practical encouragement? What if there's a mom? You can't like, sometimes I want to escape. You know, everyone's screaming, you know, like you can't escape being a mom.
No.
You know, but you can lock yourself in your room, I guess.
You can take a time out.
Yeah.
And just say no for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's hard. Personally, I found that resetting everybody, including myself, mostly myself, by like stepping outside or sticking the kids in the bath if we're having like if we have the time and space for it, you know. Obviously there's times where they're losing their minds and you're like at a restaurant or something,
right?
But like if we're at home and the days are getting long and everyone's at each other's throats, like, okay, let's pause. Let's like do something to reset our systems.
That's good. I think about, you know, not to use the term that we've been trying to encourage, but like an escape, you know, like maybe you do need to escape for a minute, and maybe that's coming to the gym and letting the kids go to childcare, or, you know, getting out into nature and letting the kids go run, creating a little distance. But
having that community that you can like trade or call a friend and be like, even if it's just to vent, hey, this is happening, like, can you relate to me with this? Or trade kids for a minute, or have them watch your kids so you can go for a run or a walk, or stick them in childcare during the gym class, because you'll feel better after.
I think that's huge. Okay, so building the life that you don't want to escape from. Lots of different ways to do that. Lots of little steps you can take, lots of dramatic steps you can take. But I think that like bringing it all in for Landy, and like taking stock of where you're at, where your heart's at, communicating with your spouse if you're married. You know, I think that's another one. Like, it's really easy for one person to be living their dream and the other one to not be.
Yeah.
you know, and for resentment to build, like, are you communicating about those things, you know?
Yeah.
Communicating, and then, like, taking action, no matter how big or small. Closing thoughts?
No, just to add to that though, there's going to be seasons for everything.
Yep. Yes.
You know, so like in this season, you know, my husband's carrying the financial load for us, and that's like, you know, it might change in the future as our kids get older or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he can
Yeah.
take some breath,
Yeah.
you know. But like there's seasons when they're little and you need to escape for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, and
it changes. So like taking stock periodically, like day to day, week to week, years to years, like.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, like, Andy and I's date nights, like, that's, like, what we're checking in on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, like, you know, like, there are times where his work's really busy, you know, and if we aren't talking about that, I'm like, why the heck are you gone so much, you know? But it's like, if we're talking about it and he's like, this is a really busy time and this is what I'm building right now and this is where I see it going and this is what I'm trying to do for us, you know, like, then that gives me more grace to be like, thank you. You know, like, I can hold it down here, like, you're building this for us, you know, but like, if we're not talking about that, then I don't realize, like, what we're working toward building, you know?
Right. And vice versa, you know, like, we're both at home with the kids, like, okay, we're spending our energy building the family.
Our children,
we are carrying that load in a different way and just like talking about it every once in a while and just like reminding yourself like where you guys are at, like you guys are in this together and where you want to move forward.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like a words of affirmation person. So like sometimes I'm like, hey, I just need you to know that this is what I'm doing during the day, and then I need to feel appreciated
and
for
I need
it.
you to say thank you.
And he'll be like, oh my gosh, I know you're doing that time. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I needed to hear that. You know, but like, if I like just let that go, like then I'm like, he doesn't know what I do around here. You know, like whatever the grouchiness can be that settles in, that's silly, and it's like he's not even thinking that, but yeah. And I think that's been a huge part of building the life that we don't want to escape from either. Is like, I love being with Andy. You know, like investing in our marriage and like
that's what I was gonna
building
say.
our lives. It's
investing in your relationship. That wasn't always like a priority for us, and I've noticed as we've added to our family and as our kids have starting to get older, it's like, okay, we gotta like make this a priority.
Or else what happens, you know?
Otherwise you're angry or things can come up and you're not talking about things and you're on different pages and you don't know like what they want in life versus what you want. And so like
and like something Emily and I talked about in the last podcast was like transforming through motherhood, and you know, like how you as a woman, as a person, like you change
so much,
and then like the things that you value in motherhood and how you parent and like the stage of your kids, like
that all changes.
You transform, you know? So it's like, we talked about that in light of motherhood, but then like it's just happening in who you are as a person too. So if you're not like connecting with your spouse and you're like transforming and change, like you're not just going to stay the same.
No,
you
neither
know?
of you are.
So if you're not like communicating how things are changing or what things are happening in your heart and mind and life, like I think it's very easy to end up as two different people, not knowing who the person is in 10, 15 years, you know? Which is sad and scary. so keep talking to your husband.
So that's definitely a huge part of building the life you don't want to escape from. Is like, building it with your person.
Making sure you guys like each other. It's good. Okay, go build it, everybody. We'll see you next time.